It's your boy OG Kenny, and I was gonna do some sage, but y'all know I already do my tea, and I got some tea. Let me show y'all right quick. Good friend of mine bought me this, right? Y'all see it, and and a sexy little coffee mug that I ain't used yet. I don't know where it's at, but the whole point is like I do my tea thing, right? I like teas, I like herbs. Because I believe I believe now as I get older, blood pressure issues, it's time to really start healing myself from the inside out and watch what I eat. So with that comes spiritual, food, burning of incense and aromatherapy, peppermint oils I'm really into all that. Taking turmeric, thyme and ginger and whatnot for the respiratory. And I know for real, I know thyme and ginger for sure. Take you a cup of tea, take a cup of hot water, right? Or a cup of water, period. Take you quarter teaspoon of thyme, half a teaspoon of ginger, some raw honey, about 2 or 3 teaspoons. Boil it. It's gonna be, you know what I mean? Your respiratory system will thank you. And I get that from what's this dude's name? I think it's Motivational Doc. Yeah, I watch him a lot. So this episode here, I really want to touch on mental health, right? And the reason I say that is because over the past few months, I had to get back in touch with myself. Leading up to this podcast, leading up to me leaving the nonprofit laundromat I had worked for Central Detroit Christian for the last 5 years, and watching the neighborhood change right before my eyes. 2 big apartment buildings right across the street from each other, and next door to the laundromat, which was the highest concentration of black people in this area, in those buildings, right? Everybody else scattered out, a home here, a home there, but for the most part, this is all my people who I see every weekend coming to the laundromat, doing business with us, being silly, laughing with me. A lot of videos that I'm just like bloopers that I done had over the years. I recorded with them. I'm gonna drop them. It was like I went through a lot emotionally and going through a breakup. Right, went through a breakup that was real tough for me, and a lot of people didn't understand that, because you gotta understand I went from being in a relationship that was like seemed like it wasn't going anywhere, and having a friend, a real good friend, and we got into a relationship situation, and just still trying to be a friend, but also still having those real strong emotional ties, still being very much probably in love with that person, or at least that's where my head and heart was at the time. It was like, I was going through a lot, right? A lot was on my mind. My daughter getting older, school has started back. Mom's getting, up there. I got investments that I got to cater to, money on the floor, a lot of money. I'm talking about 5 figures here, 6 figures there, right? Come on, big projects. And I wanted to get to that point financially. It was a blessing. I'm not complaining about the money. Because the money is what let me be able to fall back from working from somebody and focus on doing this podcast. Being able to cushion myself for the next 6 months to a year and not have to worry about necessarily working if I didn't want to. That's what was important to me. And I sacrificed over the last 5 years saving and buying stuff in bulk and resale and reselling it and doing retail arbitrage and everything that Gary Vee and everybody else was talking about, right? But then I became overwhelmed. And I even lashed out at a few people, including one of these exes that I'm talking about, and it bothered me. Now, you got certain individuals who would say, how you feel is how you feel. And how you express it is, hey, maybe they should have heard. They needed to hear it like that. But at the same time, when you feel like you're playing yourself, because you know better, you know how to act, right? And you know how to talk to people, no matter what you're going through. I didn't want to be that person to give myself no scapegoat. and get caught up in that double-headed monster, which is justification and denial. And that's an addiction. So addictive personality traits don't have nothing to do with being an addict on drugs. But most definitely, people get caught up in patterns of doing things and handling things, and they repeat them over and over, even when they know it's not real healthy for them. Even when they know that this is something that's probably going to sting them in the ass 6 months, a year down the line, right? We become childlike in our maneuvers because we have that ego, and that ego is a spoiled brat. The ego wants what it wants, right? I learned over the last few months that I was not taking care of myself. I was in the gym. I was eating decent, right? I was refraining from drinking, which was refraining from the marriagey, right? And that was cool. But I was forgetting what got me through some of the roughest times in my life. When I was missing my woman, when I was missing my baby, when I was like in prison or in the streets, going through stuff, going through drama and war, for real, shootouts, mom's house getting shot up, windows and doors getting shot up, while people in the basement hiding and we on the block shooting it out with people and stuff, right? And when you go through that type of stuff and you normalize it and you don't check in on the therapeutic level, you got to think. There's a lot of PTSD attached to that, and we don't even address it, or we fail to even acknowledge it because maybe we don't have the tools. It takes work to be able to acknowledge the truth in what you're going through sometime before you can even tackle it or acknowledge it as a problem. You got to really look at yourself and say, damn, I went through something traumatic. Institutional settings forced me into therapy, into anger management, into being able and into sitting down in a group environment or a therapeutic environment and talking my feelings out and figuring out what my triggers were, what made me mad, what did my body go through physically when I get mad or get upset or somebody pushes a trigger or push my button, right? What thoughts am I having at that time, right? How am I feeling emotionally or maybe even spiritually? Do I feel like I want to fight? Do I want to run? You know what I mean? Do I want to cry? Do I want to sulk into myself and go through a phase of self-pity and self-misery? I learned that we got to take better care of ourselves, the same on the spiritual and emotional level, the same way we picky about what we eat. Or we don't eat this and we only eat that. We only drink this type of liquor. We only smoke this type of blunt. We only hit the Zazas. We only mess with bad bras. We only mess with dark-skinned dudes. We only mess with east side dudes. You know what I mean? We picky about a lot of stuff. We picky about designer wear we wear. We only wear Ethica drawers. I only wear these because they cost this and they feel like that. I don't go to Victoria's Secret no more. I go to La Perla and whatever. We picky about a lot of stuff, the stuff we put on our body and our temple, but we don't really cater. I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying relevant to who can relate to this. We, do not take care of ourselves on a spiritual and emotional level and work on that fitness the way we should. What's deep about that is some years ago, I was looking up, maybe a year or two. I was like, dang, we got gyms. I was talking to this particular ex I'm talking about. I said, you know what? What do you think a mental health gym would look like? Because her son is autistic. It's my little man, you know. And it's deep when you get in relationships, you fall in love with people's children, and you start thinking more responsible minded because you got to be a better example for their children as well. And I remember when he didn't mess with me, right? And then he started embracing me on different levels, right? And I saw the growth in him. And when I started seeing that, I reached out to her and was like, "Damn, what do you think a mental health gym would look like?" She's like, "Dang, that's a good idea. That's something I would be willing to invest in." I started looking it up, and it led me to a video, and it was Charlamagne the God talking about Inception. Inception is a mental health gym. I'm gonna leave the link in the bio as far as who the brother is that owns Inception, their link and whatnot, so y'all can reach them. But it's a mental health facility right outside of Detroit, Michigan, in Farmington Hills, Michigan, if I am mistaken. But like I say, I'm gonna be accurate with dropping that in the description so that y'all can find it. But we're talking about real mental health gym, real thorough. I think they have like flotation therapy or water therapy. But we're talking about some place you can go and take care of yourself. Now, if you can't afford that or you're not comfortable with that, I always say that find a church, find a group on Facebook, right? Who adhering to the Facebook guidelines and rules. Find you some type of trust system that you can talk to, whether that's a preacher, a pastor, and not, you gotta pick and choose with all of these individuals nowadays, right? However, I think that therapeutic environments are key to growth in a lot of people's situations, and you can't also be afraid to. You can not be afraid to also let somebody hold a mirror up to you as being responsible for your actions and for what you put yourself through, or even for what role you may have played in some of these situations, if at all, because we're sometimes victims and sometimes we victimize ourselves, right? Because we put ourselves in situations that we know ain't gonna be good for us, ain't gonna do shit for us, right? Now, when I got forced into these environments, it was because I was locked up and I wanted to come home. And they were telling you, like, hey, if you don't complete this program, as far as one of your recommendations, because you get recommendations when you go through what they call the bubble or the reception and guidance center, and they figure out what you need based on your case, the severity of the violence in it, everything that has to do with what you went through leading up to your case and your case itself. They will let you know, okay, you need this type of program. You need assault of offenders treatment. You need anger management. You need impulse control. Give a little water. And until you complete these as part of your guidelines, they're going to be looked at as incomplete, incomplete, incomplete. You go to the parole board. Why you didn't take this class? Oh well, I didn't. Bop. Go on, finish them classes. You ain't even doing the basic stuff to get yourself home, and you want to get home. Get up out of here. So now you're forced into these environments, right? Because you want to go home, and you talking out your problems with strangers, and they giving you feedback, and you can't say nothing, right? Not nothing crazy or negative. You can't be confrontational. You got to participate, or they go against you in the notes, right? They watching you. Bailey didn't participate. He's been silent for weeks. He hasn't been turning in homework. The homework is real shallow. He ain't been giving us no insight. So when you finishing up these programs, you log the certificate in your package. They get a copy of it for the control center. Your counselor and your unit get a copy of it. And now you satisfied. Now you got something else on your list of to-do things. Get a GED. Finish a vocational trade. Whatever else they telling you to do, right? Now, you don't even think about some of the tools that you were handed in these classes. And I call them tools because years later and in retrospect, I would get into situations, arguments, damn near shootouts, fights, lovers, quarrels, you name it. And it would look like, damn, what do I do? I'm stressed out. I'm frustrated. I'm about to blow my top. And then I would start hearing those self-talks that I had mastered over the years, right? Where they say, you ain't nothing wrong with talking to yourself long as you don't answer yourself, right? Them self-talks would sound like this. Is it really worth it? Right? Now think about the movies or the cartoons, like back in the day of Hanna-Barbera and Looney Tunes and all of them, right? Think about how, even in some of these up-to-date movies, you will see one on one shoulder, one on the other shoulder. One got on the left shoulder, got on red. One on the right shoulder, got on white. This one telling you to be on garbage. This one telling you to do the right thing, right? That's how them self-talks would sound, man. Come on, bro. You could go right in dog mouth. You could go upside his head with a lie. You could do this. You could do that. You could, smack this chick in her mouth. All this little, and you say no, it ain't worth it. Think about this. Think about that. You start hearing dudes in class saying, play the tape, fast forward the movie. You like, what the hell? Now, when they say fast forward the movie, play the tape, they saying, listen, you've been here before. You saw this movie. You know how the story ends. Now, fast forward to the end and look at how unsatisfied this person was with the outcome. That could be you if you play this wrong. So these self-talks that I would have myself, these tools that I was pulling from these classes that I had been through over the years, started becoming beneficial in my day-to-day life. That's when I understood the power of therapy, because I'm like, wow, all these years later, the seeds that were planted 10, 15 years ago have sprouted and becoming in full bloom right now when I need them. And it caused me to walk away in a situation where I used to would have been confrontational, right? In a situation where I used to would have tried to have the upper hand or wanted to necessarily win. So nowadays, I choose my battles wisely. I'm not arguing with people like I used to. I'm not sitting up there debating and going back and forth about things. I know how to walk away. Walk away with my pride intact, knowing I'm still a man. Walk away with my pride intact, knowing that I ain't no coward. Walk away with my pride intact, knowing that I'm going home to a refrigerator, maybe not full of food, but I got options and choices, right? I can go home and get on my phone and charge it and watch a movie or two if I don't have a TV at home, right? I'm not saying you always going home to the best situation, but the fact that you have an option to leave and go somewhere else is not an option that you're given in prison or the grave. Flat the fuck out. You feel me? So I think that mental health and therapeutic environment, before you have to go through all of these things, are key. Don't be afraid to look in the mirror and say, I'm not okay today. I'm not okay. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I'm going through something. It's okay to not be okay. I'm not okay some days. 3, 4 in the morning I wake up, right? Weird dreams, cold sweats, guilt trips, right? For not being there for certain people who not here no more. And I got, I'm one of the biggest advocates in a group of people about going to get yourself checked out. Going to have somebody outside of your core group of people who is unbiased and qualified to tell you about yourself, and you not being afraid to listen and take it in and apply whatever advice they give you to make it better. And if you're chemically imbalanced or you need some medicine to balance you out, to stop your racy thoughts, to calm you down and give you a mood enhancer, then, consider those things. I don't think anything is wrong with anything that betters your life and doesn't have any adverse side effects, right? Think about that. Think about the benefits instead of the scrutiny that comes along with therapy. I know how it feels to think about therapy. That's why I usually say therapeutic environments, because a therapeutic environment could be a best friend who has a lot of life experience, who's not afraid to tell you both sides of the perspective, and getting your ass and you not being afraid to listen to it. I'm like that for a lot of people. But at times I need to be checking in myself to somebody who's more qualified than me, and I ain't afraid to. I do it. I call people. I got homeboy told me, bro, be by yourself. he's like, you done broke up with this one, broke up with that one, you done had a fight with this dude, you done did that. Come on, bro. He said, be by yourself, bro. That's what you need right now. And focus on you and your baby and your bag, and do that podcast and push them stories out there and get people motivated and excited about doing great things for themselves. And now I listen. And that's why these stories came out the way they've been coming out. And I've been working and doing, you know what I mean? Every time I come up with something I think gonna be beneficial to y'all, I'm gonna drop it for y'all, because I ain't trying to hold back, because we only got one life to live, one shot. And I'd rather shoot all this information, all this heartfelt experience I've been through and I've accomplished and acquired over the years, and give it to y'all raw when it's on my heart, as opposed to scripting it and it don't come out right? I'm gonna leave some links in the description, concerning any beneficial website, any resource I can find for mental health facilities or programs or groups, you know what I mean? And I'm going to shoot them out to y'all, because I think that we all deserve to have our voice heard on a level that people understand us, even if we have problems, on a mental health level, right? On the level of saying, hey, I ain't okay today, I need some help. And you got 1,000 people might be in a group saying, hey, reach out to me, I'm cool, we can talk. I know it's risky, but I'd rather you do that and get some benefits from it, right? Without putting yourself out there too much, until you can find somebody you can more one-on-one find and trust. And some of y'all got trust issues, and I get that too. But you got to start somewhere. Why not start looking into yourself today, finding out what you need, right? And I just want to say a quick prayer for anybody who's watching this channel, anybody who's watching this episode, anybody who ever ran across me. I just pray that whatever you're going through, whatever you see that's up against you, whatever battles or hurdles you may come across, that you smash their heads in and become the victorious one. That you reign victorious over anything against you, anything trying to hold you back. Amen. I'm going to see y'all next time, man. O_G_Kenny on all social media outlets. Retired from the Streets podcast. Until next time. Loved ones.